Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'll be making a carry case for my Nintendo Switch. So right now I'm doing the dimensions for the case. I will say that I gave myself a few centimeters extra just in case like things wasn't gonna fit well or the stitches would be in the way and something wouldn't fit, so yeah. The features for this case would be having a main space large enough for my Nintendo Switch, a power bank, and my phone as well, just in case this is the only bag that I want to carry around. I also have a little like slot area at the front for my game cartridges instead of bringing the whole case with me. I actually wanted to make this case because I got a bit tired of just opening and closing the cases for the game cartridges for both games I have. The fabric I'm using for this case is calico fabric. It's quite inexpensive and I had extra from a previous project. I found online that you're meant to wash it in a mixture of glue and water, however I didn't find that necessary and I just gessoed over all my pieces. So when coming up with the design, I knew I definitely wanted to include the Nintendo Switch logos. One of them is pretty like off, as in like it's not very even. But yeah, so I just drew it out, and the theme for this case is sunsets, sunrises, and galaxy. So for the cover, I went with a galaxy theme, and I did the same thing as I did with my two planet galaxy painting, where I mixed up a purple and a navy blue and just put it onto the canvas and sponged it on and mixed it together. The Nintendo Switch logo and the moon were painted in a pastel yellow. For the sides, I did a similar color theme where I did one side purple and one side blue and splattered them with yellow for stars. I also just noticed that I didn't record the splattering of the yellow for the galaxy bits, so yeah. I decided that the back was going to be a sunset and the front would be a sunrise. I didn't know what color I should do the Nintendo Switch logo for the sunsets, but in the end I ended up with black, even though I'm painting grey here. For the sunset, I decided to go with purple at the bottom, and I was gonna do yellow at the top, but then it didn't work out too well, so then I just changed to pink. I did a base coat of each color, then in the middle I used a sponge to sponge on and blend the paints together. For the bottom of the bag, I painted it pure pink because no one's going to really see it, so no design is really needed. I did blend that pink into both the sunset and sunrise. So like I said earlier, the front is a sunrise, and basically I went from pink at the bottom to purple at the top, and I didn't put a logo on this side because I knew that the stitching from the game slots on the other side will come through, and there was really no point in painting the logo. base colors of the sunset and sunrises were dried, I decided to add clouds by mixing a purple and a pink together to make this muddy purple, and that just fitted well, and I just sponged in the clouds onto each side. For the game stripped on the inside, I decided to go with black and also to streak in some pink and purple, like I did for my August bullet journal setup. Now, once all the painting was done, I decided to varnish it to seal off the paint and give it a nice glossy look. And now that the varnish is dried, I am stitching the pieces together. I used a back stitch because it is the strongest hand stitch that you can do, and even though I don't plan on using this case every single day and going out with it, I do like to have my stitches secure. I also don't have a sewing machine, so if you do have a sewing machine, it'll be best to use that. I did find it was hard to pierce the needle through the fabric because you're going through fabric, gesso, acrylic paint and varnish at the same time on 2 layers, so please be careful. I do have my cutting mat out so then I didn't damage my table. The first piece that I sewed on was the game slot piece because it's on the inside, and once it was sewed in it would be out of the way and I wouldn't have to deal with it when I was sewing all the other pieces on. And to finish off a section of stitching, I used a double knot to end it. I will say please make sure your knots are secure, otherwise the stitching will come undone. Once the game slot piece was sewed in, I went with the sides. I found that it helped to stick down the pieces of fabric so that it stays in place when you're sewing. So once the side of my side piece was sewed in, I went in with the bottom and did the other side. I found that the fabric on the other side had too much, so I had to remove the game slot piece and basically glue down the excess fabric and stitch that piece back on. So now that I've finished sewing in the first side, I go on to the second side. This side was a bit harder as the fabric was already like folded into what it's meant to be, so it's a bit harder to get the needle in the right places. So once the sides were sewed in, the next thing to sew in was buttons, because I didn't really have any other method of keeping the case closed, so my only solution was to sew buttons in and on the cover have a loop of thread or string. So here you can see I've put glue on the excess fabric of the main bit of the case, so then I can just stick it over the top. I sewed in the game piece later on. So what I found was that the fabric was not stiff enough to hold its shape, so in the end I decided to make cardboard inserts for the bottom, sides and the back of the case to make sure that it stays up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to. Check out over there for my last video. Check out over there for my Nintendo Switch unboxing. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.